Today is the 20th of March and I am driving to Llandudno to meet Ralph at Finner Park Gallery, and we are going to be taking a trip down to South Wales to go and make a video with Ralph and Kevin Sinnott. So this is going to be quite an exciting trip because Kevin Sinnott is actually a bit of a pinnacle figure for why Ralph is a gallerist. So that's going to be really exciting for him to talk to Kevin, and great footage for me to capture. I'm looking forward to making a video for him about having this artist for an exhibition. And I don't know how much of the trip I'm going to be able to film. It may just be this video and then me driving back talking to the camera, but if I can, I will see if I can capture some footage in between, although it is a working trip, so I'm not sure. I'm curious to see where we're staying because we're not coming back until tomorrow. So Ralph's booked something, even though it's been difficult to get details off him of what he's booked. So I'm curious about that. I've packed a suitcase full of tripods and ring lights and extension sockets with USB connectors and all kinds of things for my camera and bits of tech stuff to film it. Obviously the microphones, charging cables. I've packed a laptop in case I do need to charge the microphones. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that I've got everything. So yeah, I can't imagine there's anything that I'm missing. To be honest, I won't know now until I get there because it's all packed in this case. So it's not like I'll come across it and know. I won't even know. Okay, so here we go on the trip. Now it turns out that I did in fact forget my cable for my laptop, and that was going to be used to charge the battery of the microphones, which was a bit of a faulty logic on my behalf in the packing stage of this trip. My initial thought was that if I can pack a laptop with a charging cable, then I can use the USB ports from that to plug in my microphones in order to charge them ready for the next day when we go to see Kevin Sinnott. However, I had packed a multi-socket, like a multi-socket for plugs with me. Like an adapter. I don't think it's an adapter, just a multi-socket I'd packed with me, and that has USB ports in it. So that was what I used for the microphones. But there was a moment where Ralph and I arrived at this place where we were going to stay before going to see Kevin Sinnott the next day, and I had this look of dread in my eyes, and he knew something was wrong, and he asked me what was happening, and I told him I didn't have the charging cable for my laptop, so I don't know if I'll be able to charge the batteries. And Ralph was completely cool about it. He just said, oh, well, that's going to make it interesting, or, we'll figure something out. There'll be another way to do it. I wouldn't worry. Someone will have one. I'm sure that's what he said. He said, someone will have one. It'll be fine. We can go and buy a cable if we have to. And I was just devastated. And I said, yeah, I just need it for the USB ports. And as soon as I said that, it clicked in my head. And I said, give me a minute. Let me just go and check something. And I went back to my room, discovered the multi-socket thing that I'd packed, and plugged in the microphones, and it worked. So there we are. It was all fine. It was panic over nothing. This piece I'm going to be periodically showing you in the video is a drawing which I did initially, which was the intention was to make it the introduction for my first podcast of interviews, not my first ever podcast, but my first interview podcast called Good Values Podcast. And I was going to use this for the intro, and I ended up doing the drawing, liking it, but using a montage of other black and white images for the intro instead, a combination of ink and ink drawings, and also separately pencil drawings and charcoal drawings. I just thought it suited the podcast better than this drawing turned out. But I thought I would show you the process for this, because it's quite a nice little portrait from imagination that I ended up doing. But it's not related in any way to the trip. It's just to share with you how I made this image. So that's what I'm going through at the moment in this video, and it'll progress in between these little breaks, which I'll go back to now. So here I am at Finnott Park, and Ralph and I are just going to be leaving and heading to South Wales now. So I will try to film bits and bobs from the journey. So there I was, quite excited about going, had no idea what to expect, and it was a fantastic trip. But I thought I would intersplice this footage with that, just because as much as the vlog style parts of the video are fun, I can't actually share too much of what happened with seeing the artist, because that's a video that I made for Finnott Park, which is, in case you're not aware, a gallery that I've been working for since Christmas of 2023. Making videos for their YouTube and Instagram accounts, and it's been an absolute pleasure. It's a gallery that I've loved for quite a few years now, and it's so nice to be part of the team. And working with Ralph is always fun. He's such a great personality to work with on camera and off camera as well. He's really nice, and all the staff there are lovely. I say the staff, the people who are part of the gallery. It's not really like a staff thing. It's more like a family there. I know that sounds cheesy, but it really is. As soon as you know the people who are there, you don't think, well, they're staff and they're management. It's not really that type of dynamic when you interact with them. But yeah, it's lovely. And they've recently moved from Llanrwst to Llandudno. So I was fortunate enough to have that timing of interviewing Ralph just before he left Llanrwst, and then he propositioned that I make videos for the gallery, and I jumped at the chance because I'm always making videos, and I thought, I'll be the perfect person for this job. And it turns out that, yeah, it's a great working relationship. This portrait that I'm doing at the moment is based not on any kind of reference. It's just from imagination and using charcoal sticks, and the little screwed up tissue thing that you can see me using is what's called a chamois. I think you can use cloth, but I use just a paper napkin or serviette, and I just keep it in a tin with graphite and charcoal sticks, and it picks up all of the pigment dust and bits of dirt from those materials, and then I use it to push around pigment on the surface, and also to create smudgy marks on the page as part of a contrast between the darker parts of the drawing, the higher contrast shadow areas. And yeah, it's something which I thought would be for the podcast, as I mentioned earlier, but now I think it's quite nice to take when I do teaching, which I do on Saturdays, and I'm hoping to start doing on Mondays soon, because it just shows how you can create a face if you have a bit of a knowledge of portraiture from imagination, which is fairly convincing. So somewhat convincing. It's not exactly perfect. Okay, so as you can see, we're now in the car on our way to Bridgend. I'm here with Ralph.
Hello.
And if you haven't seen already, because I haven't posted on this channel, I've been doing work making videos for Ralph for his beautiful gallery, Finnott Park. I have talked about it in videos. If you haven't seen it, then I will put clips in now so that you can see this beautiful gallery that I've had the privilege to film. And we're going to be meeting Kevin Sinnott, who's doing a show soon at Finnott Park. So I'm going to be filming Ralph, having a conversation with him, selecting some work. It's very exciting. We're driving now to go and stay at a place in Bridgend. So yeah, it's exciting, isn't it?
It is rather exciting.
Yeah.
And a little bit nerve-wracking because it's an artist that means a lot to me. And I desperately want his first show to be a roaring success.
I'm sure it will be. It's funny because I interviewed Ralph for the painting podcast, and he mentioned Kevin Sinnott being this kind of point in his life which kind of made him become a gallerist, which is fascinating and amazing that we're actually going to go and meet him. Well, you've already met him.
Yeah, I've met him a few times, but it's the first time I'm going to be picking the body of work, so I quite like butterflies. Because it means so much to me that he's part of my gallery, but also just because he's on a don't tell him this, by the way, but he's on a pedestal.
Yeah.
I admire him so much, and the whole reason I'm here today is being a gallerist, or as I'd like to call it, a galleryist. No, but I'm really looking forward to putting together a major show by him. And I know that he's got some really good pieces in his studio, so it's very exciting times.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I can't wait to see it. It's fantastic. And I actually showed Ralph today that I had photographs from, I think it was February last year, when I was at Cuffin Williams Gallery on Anglesey, and had photographed one of Kevin Sinnott's paintings, Running Away with the Hairdresser.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. Fantastic painting, one which you mentioned in the interview as well, and I'd photographed it and really admired it and discussed it with Petra at the time. Amazing painting, and it's going to be a pleasure to meet him. So yeah, that is what's going to be happening, and I will tell you all about it after we've done all the filming.
Exciting times. So you can see there how lovely Ralph is. We get along so well. It was such a nice trip, and it was so exciting to go and capture these moments. I couldn't believe how difficult his job was, and he was crediting me with the filming that I do and how I try to disappear even though I'm there with a camera in their faces. I try to not be too much of an imposing presence, because they need to be natural. You know, when I say they, I mean Ralph and the artist, which in this case is obviously Kevin Sinnott, need to be natural and relaxed and talk to each other and interact in the studio space or the gallery space or wherever they are. They need to do this in a way which isn't hindered by the camera and the microphones. And what I've found is that when I put the microphone on Ralph and the artist, and then they get used to me just hovering around, and Ralph is taking their attention by talking about the art and his thought process for the exhibition, they soon do forget that I'm there, and I try to not make any sounds, and it's quite a nice kind of illusion of just privacy, which they kind of seem to have until they realize they've said something which they don't want on camera, which they're always safe. I'm never going to publish anything which any artist or Ralph, the gallerist or galleryist, as he humorously says, I'd never publish anything which they don't want, because what would be the use of that? This is not an expose of anyone. This is just my fortunate role of being a +1 on these amazing trips. But anyway, as I was saying, Ralph was crediting me with these filming jobs, because at certain points, not only do I try to disappear, but I'm also, there was one point where I was stood on one foot and on my tiptoes trying to kind of put the camera in a place which I thought was most effective for the frame. And he'd mentioned that afterwards and said, you know, you were doing that for almost 30 minutes. And I said, yeah, that's just part of the job, but I don't even notice that. What I was thinking is that the job that Ralph does, and I know this does sound like, you know, just both saying you're amazing. No, you're amazing. But the job that Ralph does is, one, he has to be the host on the camera, because as much as his job is something else, he knows he's being filmed for a reason. He needs this footage to work for his channel. That's why I'm there. It's not for fun. It's for his channel to use as a video for content. So he's the host of the video. Two, he is selecting work for the show. So he needs to think about what works and what type of exhibition he's now curating in the moment. And three, he then has to,
kind of be careful of how the artist feels, because they've spent a lot of time making these pieces, and an artist's life is quite solitary. They can't necessarily be out being social all the time, because creating work means going out to places where you're trying to capture the landscape or be quite introspective and make something very personal. And that's why certain artists' work is so powerful, is that they will make themselves vulnerable. And that's what you can see in the most evocative artists' work and body of work. So when they present these pieces to Ralph, there's a lot of emotion attached to it, and he has to be sensitive to that, and he is. And that's why I credited him with doing 3 jobs, whereas I was doing 1 job. So it's nice that he appreciates me, and obviously he realizes that I do appreciate him. But I think out of the 2 of us, I can't believe how difficult a job he has. And if he didn't have the job of being the host on the camera, the job that he still has otherwise as being someone selecting the work and being mindful of how the artist feels would be enough. But the fact that it wouldn't have been such a work environment without the camera and microphones, it would have been more of a social atmosphere without me there, means that he had to contend with that as well. And it's a very tricky job, and I really do admire how well people do this and how unseen it is, because there are gallerists all over the world doing these jobs, and I can't even imagine how stressful it must be to try to make sure that you have a certain amount of work to deliver to your clients the best of this artist's narrative on certain aspects of their paintings, because they will paint different subjects. And one of the things that I've learned, that I noticed Ralph doing, was that as much as there'd be so many beautiful paintings everywhere, he would be very specific about what he would select and why, and what it would mean for the narrative of the exhibition. So he's considering it from the perspective of the visitor to the gallery space. When they're walking through, what are they going to see? And in what context will these paintings be seen? Because they will sit with each other and they will speak to each other, and people will interpret certain things based on the relation between different pieces. And that's a very interesting aspect of the gallerist's job, which I've never thought about and certainly didn't understand and appreciate until I saw it in action. And yeah, I thought it was fascinating, very interesting. I mean, I think Ralph is ready to be a guest again on the painting podcast, if he's willing to be one, because now that I know more about his job, I certainly have different questions that I could ask him as a guest. And he was such a fantastic guest on the painting podcast. I'd love to have him as a guest again. So I'm sure at some point I will pitch that to him and see how he feels about it. But let's go now to my room in the hotel. Okay, it is now, I don't know what time it is. I think it's about 9 p.m. And Ralph is in his room downstairs in another building, which is funny, which we both didn't expect. And this is my room, which looks nice. These are apparently the 2 most expensive rooms in the hotel. And we've got a lovely bath thing there. Bathroom is here. Ah, there's a shower. That's a relief. I thought it was just a bath. There is a shower. Where is the light? Can't be the light. Where's the light for the bathroom? Am I going crazy? Where's the light? What's going on? What's that? Did you see that? Someone's fake eyelash. I requested that specifically. Isolator. Okay. Right, here we are. Okay, here's the light. So not bad. Not a bad little room. Shower, fake eyelash, toilet, bath, coat hangers, which I'm going to put my coat on in a minute, and then big wreathy thing, and then a lovely room. Very nice. What's this over here? Bits and bobs. And I do need both actually. Spring water. What's this? Homemade shortbread, which I won't be having that due to allergies. Let's have a look. Sockets. Okay, there's a socket there. That's good. Window here. That'll be interesting to see in the morning. See what I can see. But for now, I think I'm going to draw curtains, as I will be wanting a bit of privacy. Nice spot. Nice high ceilings. And then tomorrow, Kevin Sinnott. Fun. Forgive my little impromptu tour of the room there. I just thought it was an interesting thing to do at the time. It's not the best planned out thing. I mean, I did an embarrassing moment as well where the extended version of that footage was after I'd had a meal with Ralph. I come back to the room and film a little bit talking about how nice it was having a meal downstairs, and realizing that the panic was averted with the charger of the microphones. And then I'm in the room looking around, and you can clearly see on the bed that there are towels and shampoo and soap, and I'd already taken one of the soaps and put it into the toilet. But I have a moment of looking around the room and saying, oh, they've not left me any towels. And then I cut the footage off, and what happens is I go downstairs, tell them they haven't left me any towels, and the person who I speak to said, they're not on the bed. And I said, I don't think so. And she said, let me come up and have a look. And I said, I'd be so embarrassed. I'll have a look, don't worry. And she goes, no, I'll have a look. And she comes up, she goes into the room, and I just actually opened the door for her. I don't even look at the room, but I just go, are they there? And she said, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. So yeah, that was the moment that I didn't show you, but I'm not the best at these room tour things. It was all a bit exciting and in the moment. So I thought I would show you, this is where the drawing got put. I've got this folder, which is large. It's a A2 folder where I put in different bits of drawings and prints that I take to the teaching classes that I do. This is how the drawing turned out. And then here is some footage from the trip back from Team Kevin Sinnott. Okay, we are on our way back after seeing Kevin Sinnott. That was an amazing visit. I really enjoyed it. What did you think?
Well, I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
It's a full-on day, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite overwhelming to see such a large body of work and then trying to select what you think is going to make a really strong exhibition. But I think we've got a corker on our hands.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I can't believe this is something that you've been doing on your own for all these years, because it's such an amount of work. I would always have a buddy with me, so I'm glad that I could be with you.
It's the first time I've ever had anyone, so it's been a pleasure having you there, because it's just nice you recording what goes on.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing your video.
Yeah. So yeah, great stuff. Obviously I can't share with you what I filmed unless this comes out after the Finner Park video, in which case I will link to the Finner Park video.
Oh yes.
This one. Yeah, there will be a link in the description to the Finner Park YouTube channel. Go and support them. They've got an incredible videographer on there and a lovely host as well. It's okay. See you later.